After President Biden conveyed Israel's ceasefire proposal to the world and then followed up with a helpful graphic in a tweet, there were inevitable reactions from across the political spectrum in Israel. First and foremost, from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He took the rare step of issuing a press statement on the Jewish Sabbath on Saturday, in which he said that Israel would never agree to a cessation of hostilities, something that comes in phase two of the three-phase ceasefire proposal, until such time as Israel's war objectives have been met. He said that unless Israel's conditions for a cessation of hostilities were met, it would not agree to a ceasefire. Now, these conditions are, number one, to destroy Hamas's military and governance capabilities. Number two, to get all the hostages who were abducted by Hamas on October the 7th back into Israel. And number three, to ensure that the Gaza Strip no longer poses a threat to Israel. So I think what Netanyahu was trying to do was to clarify that the ceasefire proposal that he himself would have signed off on as part of Israel's war cabinet does not preclude Israel from meeting those war objectives. So the ball, as far as the ceasefire proposal for now, is in Hamas's court. I think at the same time, Netanyahu was trying to preempt the inevitable blowback against this ceasefire proposal from the far-right members of his governing coalition. Those reactions, blowback, duly came at the end of the Jewish Sabbath when they said that this proposal seemed like to them a capitulation to Hamas. It would be a defeat for Israel. It would be a reckless deal. And if it goes ahead, they would pull their parties out of the governing coalition. Now, if they were to make good on that threat, that would likely lead to the collapse of Netanyahu's government. It would lead to fresh elections, which opinion polls suggest Netanyahu would lose. So no doubt that is something else that is playing on his mind. At the same time, over the weekend, Netanyahu said he was thrilled to be invited to speak to Congress by the top four leaders, Democrat and Republicans, of Congress on a date in the future. He said that he will convey the justness of Israel's cause in its war against terrorism and its war against Hamas, which the US designates as a terrorist organization. I suppose to also bring on board any wavering lawmakers, particularly Democrats, who may be feeling that Israel, for example, is not using US weapons shipments as it ought to. At the same time, I think Netanyahu is happy to be doing this because by being on the world stage, speaking to US lawmakers, he can once again portray himself to the Israeli public as the only man who can lead Israel on the international stage, that he has the ear of US lawmakers and the White House. And at the same time, he's the only man that can both maintain the Israel-US relationship and stand up to the United States when it's not in Israel's interests. Elliot Gotkin, CNN, Tel Aviv.